past few weeks, Bangladesh has once again found itself at the center of political instability, mass protests, communal violence, and rising regional tensions. What began as a mourning for a slain youth leader has quickly spiraled into nationwide unrest, targeting media houses, cultural institutions, minorities, and even symbols of Bangladesh's liberation history. This video explains what exactly happened, why it happened, and what it means for a country like Bangladesh and the region surrounding it, especially India. This is the story of how Bangladesh moved from mourning to mayhem. To understand the present turmoil, we must briefly go back to July 2024. In July 2024, Bangladesh witnessed massive student led and civil protests that eventually led to the fall of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government, which had been in power for over a decade. Allegations of authoritarianism, suppression of dissent, and flawed elections had been brewing amongst the masses for over years. Following her ouster, an interim government led by Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus was installed. Its primary mandate was to restore law and order, stabilize the economy, and prepare the country for parliamentary elections scheduled for February 2026. However, the political vacuum left behind intensified rivalries between parties, radical groups, and external narratives, setting the stage for the crisis that followed later. Sharif Usman Hadi was not just another political activist, he was a prominent youth leader, a key figure in the 2024 protests, and a rising political face expected to contest the 2026 general elections. Hadi was openly critical of the old political establishment, corruption within the mainstream parties, and what he described as excessive Indian influence in Bangladesh's internal affairs. This made him popular among the youth but also dangerous in the eyes of many powerful actors. On 12 December 2025, Sharif Osman Hadi was shot by masked gunmen who were riding a motorcycle in Dhaka's Paltan area. This is a politically sensitive area, and he was actively campaigning for his upcoming elections. He was rushed to the hospital in Dhaka and later airlifted to Singapore for advanced treatment. Despite medical intervention, Hadi succumbed to his injuries on 18th December 2025. His death sent shockwaves across Bangladesh. The official investigations named Faisal as the primary suspect. However, Faisal remains absconding. He reportedly left the country, and his disappearance has further fueled the public anger and conspiracy theories. What followed Hadi's death was not just protest, it was explosive rage. Thousands of people poured into the streets demanding immediate arrests, accountability from the interim government, and an end to the political impunity. Soon, these protests turned violent. Several symbolic institutions have been targeted during these protests. Media houses like Protham Alo and the Daily Star have been vandalized and set on fire, which has raised serious concerns about the freedom of press. Secular cultural centers like Chaya North, offices of the Awami League, and even the residence which is associated with Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who played a key role in the liberation of Bangladesh, has been under attack. These attacks are not random. They reflect anger against institutions which are perceived as pro establishment, secular, or aligned with India. The most horrifying incident occurred in the city of Mymensingh. A Hindu man named Deepu Chandra Das, aged around 25 to 27 years old, was accused of blasphemy, which is the alleged disrespect of a religion, and what followed was brutal. He was lynched by a mob. The crowd cheered and filmed the act, and his body was reportedly hung in public and set on fire. This incident exposed the dangerous rise of mob justice, religious extremism, and minority vulnerability during political instability. Bangladesh has a very long history of communal coexistence, but political chaos often makes minorities the easy targets. Following the lynching, a fear spread amongst the Hindus and other minority communities. Several families reportedly fled their homes temporarily, and human rights groups have raised alarms over lack of protection. Killing of Deepu Chandra Das has triggered strong reactions in India. Protests were held near the Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi. Indian political leaders have condemned this violence, and public pressure has mounted on the Indian government to respond immediately. Subsequently, India has suspended Bangladesh's visa services, citing security concerns around diplomatic missions. This significantly escalated diplomatic tensions between India and Bangladesh. Amidst all these political tensions, anti India sentiments have once again emerged in Bangladesh. Protesters have accused India of interfering in Bangladesh's domestic politics, providing shelter to political figures, including Sheikh Hasina, and supporting specific political factions. These sentiments have been amplified by political leaders and hardline groups. Senior BNP leader Khardar Abdul Haq made a controversial statement calling for the secession of India's seven sisters, which is India's complete northeast, from its mainland. This statement plays on regional geography, taps into the nationalist emotions, and deepens the fear of radical rhetoric influencing mainstream politics. Such narratives are especially dangerous in a region already marked by sensitive borders and ethnic complexities, because even if you look at the map of India and Bangladesh, Bangladesh takes a crucial place as a connection between the northeast and the rest of the India. The interim government under Muhammad Yunus deployed additional security forces, imposed restrictions in the sensitive areas, urged the citizens to remain calm. However, critics argue that the government acted too slowly, failed to control the mob violence, and struggled to balance law enforcement with civil freedoms. With elections scheduled for February 2026, the stakes are very high. BNP and other parties are positioning themselves aggressively. Youth anger is becoming a decisive political force, and communal tensions risk being exploited for electoral gains. If stability is not restored soon, the credibility of the upcoming elections may come under serious question. The recent turmoil in Bangladesh is not just about the assassination. It is about a fragile transition after authoritarian rule, youth frustration and political vacuum, rising communalism, and dangerous religious tensions. Whether Bangladesh emerges stronger or slips further into instability will depend on justice for Sharif Osman Hadi, protection of minorities, accountability of the political actors, and restraint from both domestic and external forces. The world, especially South Asia, is watching closely.